What do you make of the fact that 7 months on, there are still people in the country making derogatory references to what you and your colleagues said initially about the use of face coverings in February and March?
Well, I just think that they're just not understanding the evolving amount of knowledge that occurs when you have an evolving situation like an outbreak. And we've explained that multiple times. We found out a couple of other things that made it compelling to recommend strongly that everyone wear a mask. And that is, we found out that about 40 to 45% of all infected people did not have symptoms. So you do not know that they are infected. And we found out that those people are a substantial part of the people that actually transmit infections to other people. So the better part of the recommendation would be everybody should wear a mask, literally universally.
And that's been your recommendation for at least the last 6 months. So let me ask you this.
At least the last 6 months.
That's right. At the White House, we have not seen the president's aides until most recently wearing masks. There have been tests conducted among the president's senior staff, and we're told anyone who is in close proximity to the president. What did we learn about the efficacy of that strategy in terms of preventing the spread of coronavirus?
Well, I think the data speak for themselves. We had a Superspreader event in the White House, and it was in a situation where people were crowded together and were not wearing masks. So the data speak for themselves.
That couldn't have been any clearer. It was Dr. Anthony Fauci on CBS Radio basically slamming Donald Trump and the Trump administration for hosting a quote-unquote super spreader event at the White House just a couple weeks ago now, less than that, when Amy Coney Barrett was officially nominated by Trump to be on the Supreme Court. Of course, she's not confirmed yet, but that was the party. They had a big event and ceremony and party for her and her family and a lot of Republican dignitaries that all came together at the White House Rose Garden for a huge party, and no one was wearing masks. No one was social distancing. There was nothing like that. And a lot of people have shown, like Dr. Fauci and so many others, that that event was where so many people, like Trump and Trump's wife Melania and Kellyanne Conway and Chris Christie and 3 Republican senators and many others, including some of the families of those people, like Claudia Conway now has the illness, originated from that event. That event was the epicenter for so many people getting COVID during this recent crisis, so many of them top-ranking Republican officials, including the president. And this is all because they didn't listen to the established science for months now. For months now, it's been wear a mask because it protects yourself and it protects others. And as noted in this clip, again by Dr. Fauci, upwards of nearly half the people who are affected don't necessarily have symptoms. And so what that means is you don't always know if you got it. And so the one thing you can do, whether you feel good or whether you don't, is to put a mask on, and especially if you feel good. Because if you don't feel good, you're probably going to go get tested or stay home or, otherwise ascertain whether or not you are positive. And if you are, you'll isolate. If you're a responsible person, you'll isolate for your 14 days. But if you feel fine, you might not think of doing anything. And so you might go about your day, and all the people you meet might catch it from you, and they might have symptoms, and maybe very severe ones. So the best thing you can do is wear a mask. Just whenever you're around people, especially indoors, especially in tight quarters, wear a mask. That's what Dr. Fauci is saying. And Republican elites have not done so. They have not asked people enough to do so at Trump's rallies. Not only did he have the rallies in the first place, which were insane, but no social distancing, no mask wearing, or at least very, very little mask wearing. Certainly no enforced mask wearing. And Fauci is good to note this. He doesn't say Trump in particular, at least not in this excerpt, but it's very clear what he's saying. The president and other top officials in the White House knew the science. They knew the data. They knew the protocols. They knew the basic goddamn common sense. and they ignored it. And they didn't wear their masks, and they didn't social distance. And then people got the coronavirus at this party. And from there, you could see it spread. And Trump has not learned his lesson. It's not like this happened and he saw the light. He has learned nothing. This is a man that his administration won't tell us when was the last time he tested negative. They won't tell us. They won't tell us that. On Fox News today, as well as on MSNBC today, 2 different Trump officials were asked this question. When was the last time the president tested negative, if at all? And they won't say, because I think the answer is he wasn't getting tested consistently, even though he was constantly going places. So they either don't know, or he tested positive before the debate, which means he put himself and everyone there, including Joe Biden, at risk. And they don't want to admit that, of course, so they're sidestepping the question. And now Trump is saying that not only is he good enough for a physical debate next week, which is BS, listen to the man. The man's not all the way better yet. And he's likely still shedding. He likely still has the ability to pass it on. But he wants to hold 2 rallies this weekend, potentially. One in Florida and one in Pennsylvania. And these rallies will not be social distanced. They will not have masks required. That won't happen. Trump is still with the virus and he wants to spread it. And he's not going to demand mask wearing. Listen to people like Dr. Fauci. Listen to them. Don't listen to your president, because your president doesn't know anything. Or maybe worst, knows and doesn't care.